In today's video, I'll be giving you guys some tips on how to prepare for your CSEC HSB and also your CSEC biology exam. So if you're interested, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, so the first thing when you're preparing for either the CSEC HSB or the CSEC biology exam, you need to read for yourself. So that's the first thing. It makes a difference when you read it for yourself versus the teacher just said, or maybe you just hear you hear the teacher in the class, or maybe even if you hear somebody explain it. Sometimes it makes a really big difference when you actually read information for yourself. Like actually look in the book and read it for yourself. Like there have been certain topics where you see people talk about it, it's like me just can't catch it. Me just not catch what them I say. But you see when you read it in the book and you see the diagrams and you see the something, then it all starts to make sense. So the first step on how to pass CSEC biology and also CSEC HSB, read for yourself. So the second tip on how to practice for CSEC HSB and also your CSEC biology exam is basically to practice your drawing and also practice labeling. Now, the exam is not necessarily drawing based, but you see if you can draw it, you can explain it. So if you're going to that exam and let's just say for some reason you don't remember something, but guess what, you can draw the diagram. For example, if it's a processor or something, guess what? You see, once you can draw that diagram, you can explain it. Because some of us are more visual learners, right? So you see, if you draw the diagram, you can write on it after you draw it. So if it's a case where you know, so you're more of a visual person, memorize the diagrams in your mind. So if you go on the exam and ask a particular question, even if you don't come to your head immediately, you can draw it and then explain it, the answer on the lines on the test paper. This will help you to basically, what should I say, it helps you to grasp the concept a lot more if you can draw it. Because if you can draw it, it means you literally have a visual mental representation in your mind. And tell me now, if you have a visual presentation in your mind, that means you basically know it. So if it's a case where you know the exam and let's just say it not come to you, the words not come to you, but you know the diagram, you can draw the diagram one side and then use it to answer the question and it's about it back. If it's a case where you're more a visual learner kind of person. So now the next step on how to pass CSEC HSB and also CSEC biology is to do past papers. Do past papers for both the paper 1 and the paper 2 because the questions are very similar. Now, doing past papers for paper 2 is very important because it helps you to get like an idea of how the paper 2 is set up. It helps you to know how the paper is set up and basically what kind of questions to expect. For example, you might have A, B, C, D. One question have different parts or different sections to it, right? And it does help you to prepare better because at least you know that the exam say, okay, the questions are gonna be connected and okay, one graph over the panic, things like that. So you can prepare yourself. So on the CSEC biology exam, you'll see a graph. CSEC HSB, we don't know of it having a graph, but same thing. But do the past papers for the paper 1. And then the paper 1 questions, they repeat a lot. So do practice those when you're going to do your exam because it really helps a lot. The next step on how to prepare for your CSEC exams for CSEC biology and also CSEC HSB is using mnemonics. So basically things that will help you remember the processes. For example, you have GRIM in there. So that's growth, respiration, irritability, movement, nutrition, excretion, and reproduction. So things like that, and basically those are the characteristics of life. So once an organism is able to carry out all of those processes, we consider them to be living. So basically use mnemonics to help you remember certain processes in biology. Then the next step now is basically watching the videos that will help to explain. So basically if you go on YouTube, you can search for a particular topic, whether it be cell division, whether it be cells, whether it be cell structure and function, whether it be excretion, the excretory system, the circulatory system, the nervous system, anything like that. You will find information on the internet for it. And I don't know, basically in this day and age, that's the best thing. Go on YouTube, free, search for the particular topic, and they have thousands of videos literally explain how all of these things work. Thousands of videos. You gotta tell you, go on it and search for it. Just go on it and search for the different topics, and you'll get your answer just like that, basically. Now the next step now is, if it's a case where you're really struggling, you can seek extra tutoring for CSEC HSB or even CSEC biology, right? Seek tutoring, you cannot, that's also another option. And next thing too is also just use your textbook. Read your textbook for yourself. Read it. Go back to the reading point earlier, but you need to read the textbook. Read the textbook, look at the diagrams directly from the textbook. Yes, the teacher might draw some little, some draft on the board that maybe explain a concept or something. But read the textbook, look at the diagrams, read it for yourself. Because for me, yes, when I read this stuff for myself, it all starts to just make sense when I read it for myself. So you can just try and do that. And I say the extra tutoring, if you feel like you need it. Let's see. Also, as it relates to CSEC biology, ensure that you know how to plot a graph. Ensure you know how to label a graph. You know what X and Y axis is. You know how to make a scale. You know how to put on a title. Ensure so you know all of those stuff for basically the CSEC biology exam, because CSEC biology exams usually come with a graph, and I don't know, but just ensure so you know how to plot a graph, because them not miss that. There is going to be a graph on that paper. And ensure say even knowing how to draw the graph and make a graph, ensure that you know how to interpret the graph. Or let's say, for example, them don't give you a graph to draw, but guess what? They want you to interpret what's on the graph. Ensure so you know how to interpret the information. Ensure so you can look on it and basically make the relationship between the X and the Y axis. So read the title. If there's no title there, just follow what the graph is showing and being able to interpret it and know exactly what this graph is saying to you. What is the correlation with the graph? What is this? What is Y and X trying to say? To ensure so you know that for CSEC biology. And CSEC biology is one of the science subject, I think is necessarily one of the harder science subject. I feel like out of biology, chemistry, physics, it's CSEC biology is probably the easier one out of them, at least in my opinion. But yes, but ensure say you can interpret the graph. Ensure you can draw the graph, you can plot the graph, you can make the scale, you can put on the title. You know what a conic and what one of a conic. Ensure so you know that. And ensure say when you practice drawing graphs, like do past paper questions with graphs or even questions from your teacher, ensure say interpret it. When you drop the graph, ask yourself, what is this graph saying? It makes sense or not make no sense? The scale makes sense or not make no sense? Because certain things, that like for example, time could never go on the y-axis, not a day, not a time like this. Time always depend on the x-axis. So for example, when a question says plot time, probably you say something like plot the weather against time, or they plot weather versus time. You know that time in that scenario, time are going to end up on the x-axis. So time are going to end up on the x-axis. So just ensure say you know how to read the question and know what to do. Ensure so you go through the topics them in the syllabus, and also if you have the CSEC biology concepts book, that really kind of match out everything in there basically. But things like cell division, mitosis, meiosis, nervous system, circulatory system, reproductive system, and them love put like some little contraceptive question, or even sometimes them put something about childbirth, anything, or labor, anything. They probably put up on the HSP, but yeah, anything like that. Or even when I do it my year, them did say something about like alcohol and urinating and excretion. But basically ensure so you can interpret the question. So for example, they will not put on the paper what is the excretory system. They will give you a scenario with one man and how the man basically did drink enough and then something go in blood and blah blah blah. They might give you a scenario like a case study, so ensure say you know how to handle it and you know how to answer it. So just do your past papers, read, know the diagram, make sure you have a mental representation of the things in your mind, the diagrams in a biology. Ensure you can explain the concept them, use flashcard, whatever study method you want to use. Just ensure that you do it, and ensure say you prepare for both your CSEC biology or your CSEC HSP exam if you're doing both of them or you're only doing one of them. But this kind of goes for both of them minus the graph, because HSP, you know, really at least to my knowledge, when me do it, there was no graph on it. But anyways, this is the end of today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And basically you can check out the CXC playlist down below in the description, and also the CXC textbooks down below in the description. So anyways, this is the end of today's video. Bye guys.